All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Facebook Live. I am Dr. Annie Valeska, and I'm a pet behavior expert at Purina Cat Chow. You may be wondering what exactly a pet behavior expert is. So in my case, I have a PhD in animal behavior, and throughout my career, I've worked with all kinds of different species, from rabbits to flamingos to tigers. But now, of course, my focus is really on dogs and cats. So my role at Purina is to get to be the voice of the pet, which is really fun. I get to make sure that our products are as pleasing to the cats and dogs as they are to the owners, and I also get to participate in really cool initiatives like this one. So today I'm super excited to talk to you about a topic that is really near and dear to our hearts at Purina Cat Chow, which is therapy cats. Now, I know you've probably heard a lot about service and therapy dogs, but cats can make great therapy animals too. There have been some studies done on this, and the studies have shown that spending time with the cat can boost our mental health, can decrease feelings of loneliness, and increase our sense of purpose. In fact, a recent survey that we conducted at Purina Cat Chow found that 85% of cat owners agree that they have had therapeutic benefits from their cats and that becoming a cat owner has improved their quality of life, which is pretty cool. So we really wanted to help increase awareness around the therapeutic benefits of cats. So to do that, we have joined forces with Pet Partners, which is a national nonprofit known for its therapy animal program. And I'm really excited to have Moira Smith from Pet Partners joining us today. So welcome, Moira. Would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself and your role at Pet Partners?
Absolutely. Hi, Annie. Thank you for having me. We are so excited about this partnership with Purina Cat Chow to help spread the love of therapy cats. Pet Partners is a national nonprofit registering handlers of multiple species as volunteer teams, with nearly 15,000 registered therapy animal teams in 50 states as well as internationally. Our mission is to improve human health and well being through the power of the human animal bond. And I am a volunteer therapy cat handler and a team evaluator. I also work for the Pet Partners Therapy Animal Program, supporting our volunteer leaders.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I know we're going to hear a little bit more about your experience later. So, for those of you who are watching us live, thank you. Feel free to ask any questions that you have in the comments, and we're going to have some time to get to those questions later on in our chat. So, for now, let's dive in. Maura, could you start by telling us a little bit about therapy cats? So, for starters, what is a therapy cat?
Thank you. Thank you for asking. A therapy cat provides physical, psychological, and emotional benefits to the people that they interact with. Although most frequently this role is associated with dogs, cats can be therapy animals too. And before we get into the details of our program, I want to clarify for those of you who are wondering, therapy cats do not have rights of access like service and emotional support animals. What we're talking about today is a volunteer community service activity. Our handlers must have permission to visit the places where they wish to share the love of their pets. For more information about terminology, please check out a helpful resource that my colleague is going to link in the chat. So, pet partners, handlers, and their animals, they're called a team, visit in a variety of locations with a wide range of client types, including hospitals, retirement homes, rehab centers, group homes, schools, libraries, workplaces, and airports. Any of these settings can be extremely rewarding, but the overarching consideration is what setting will be the best match for you and your cat. This central theme of pet partners, and you will hear it again and again, always be your cat's best advocate. Your job as a handler is to set everyone up for success. This includes your cat and the clients you're interacting with. Due to the coronavirus, our teams are not currently able to go to these places, but we are still actively recruiting and training handlers across the country so we can meet demand once communities reopen. In the meantime, our current teams have been able to stay connected to their facilities through digital platforms, just like everybody else. Whether it's a live video call connecting a therapy animal to a child learning to read, or a caretaker sharing a tablet with a nursing home resident where they can still view the therapy animal and talk to the handler at the regularly scheduled visit time. We even have some handlers who created a whole series of entertaining and informative videos about their pets to be shared with facilities and professionals around the world. We're so proud of so many of our volunteers' ingenuity and creativity in finding ways to continue to promote the human animal bond even while they're stuck at home.
That's really cool that they've found all these innovative ways. But what does a typical visit usually look like?
Right. So, in addition to asking where to visit, prospective handlers usually want to know what's expected of them once they arrive. In the interest of providing the benefits of the human animal bond to as many populations as possible, we offer several options for our volunteers. Most visits are social and informal in nature. The handler just makes conversation to cheer someone up and hopefully reduce their stress or provide a welcome distraction. A popular example of this type of visit is a stress relief event during finals week at a college. Other visits are more structured and part of a therapeutic treatment plan, like when a team works with a physical therapist to encourage a patient to brush their cat in order to improve strength and coordination. And the third category of interaction is in partnership with an educator to help students meet learning goals. Now, once registered, a handler may opt into three special initiatives: Read with Me, which provides reading specific support and education; Walk with Me, which encourages people to get up and active by taking a walk with a therapy animal team; and finally, our newest offering is a special credential called Animal Assisted Crisis Response, which provides education to the handler to prepare them to respond to comfort those affected by a disaster in their community. Ultimately, as a Pet Partners registered team, you can choose to participate in any kind of visit if it is the right fit for you and your pet.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing all that. So I'm a cat owner myself. You might see my massive black cat Jack wandering around behind me at some point. And so as a cat owner, I can definitely attest to the positive power of cats. And, I mentioned that survey that Cat Chow conducted, and nearly all cat owners, so 94% of those we surveyed, agreed that people can benefit from spending time with cats. So for anyone watching out there that is interested in sharing the benefit of their cat with others, what are the requirements to be a therapy cat?
Great. Absolutely. So, to join Pet Partners, your cat must be at least 1 year old, have lived with you for at least 6 months because we want you to be able to get to know your potential partner. They must be reliably house trained, usually not an issue with cats, comfortable in a harness and leash. All Pet Partners therapy animals are required to be on leash at all times during visits. Cats with a history of aggression toward people or pets are not eligible to participate. And for the safety and of the cat and the people you visit, cats should be in good health and free of internal and external parasites. Cats may not be on antibiotics, antifungals, or immunosuppressive medications when they evaluate or when they visit. If your cat is on a long-term medication, please contact us before you initiate a team registration to ask if it's acceptable. If your cat meets these requirements and has some basic skills, this may be a good fit for you.
Right. So hopefully some of you watching are going through that checklist and thinking, my cat could really a really good fit for this. So let's dive a little deeper into the behavior of a cat that's really suited for this kind of work. So first and foremost, your cat should really have an affinity for interacting with people. So that's going to be a cat that when you have guests coming over to your home, this cat is more likely to want to be in the center of the room and not hiding under the bed. We also want a cat that has a calm, easygoing temperament. So one that's not going to be too thrown off by new people, new situations, new sounds, that kind of thing. And we also look for cats with predictable behaviors that can be seen in the cat's ability to react to cues and maybe even trained commands of their owner. So in addition to really enjoying people, good therapy cats should accept interactions in a pleasant, welcoming, or at least forgiving manner, as opposed to just tolerating them. We really want them to enjoy what they're doing when they're therapy cats. So to assess how your cat feels about what's happening to him, you can really read several different parts of their body. I know cats have this reputation of being kind of very difficult to read, but actually they're communicating with us constantly. So one thing to look for is their ear position. So if their ears are forward facing, kind of like the typical Halloween cat ears, straight up and down, that's a good sign. That's generally a happy, confident cat. Once you see the ears start to be pinned toward the back of the head or rotated toward the sign, then they're feeling less sure or less happy about what's going on. The other thing to look at is their eyes. So if their eyes are relaxed, whether they're relaxed in kind of a half open position or closed and relaxed, that's good. A cat whose eyes are being held really widely open with their pupils dilated or squeezed shut probably isn't feeling too good about what's happening. And the other really good way to read your cat's body language is the tail. So a tail that is held straight up, perpendicular to the body, is a cat that is feeling confident and happy. If you want to know that the cat's really happy, you can look for a quivering tail. So this is a cat that's just kind of doing this at the base of the tail. You might be seeing this when you come back home from work or when you're about to feed the cat. So that's a really good sign. The other tail movement that is a good thing in cats is when the very tip of the tail just makes a U shape, an upside down U back and forth. That's a cat that might be feeling a little playful or energized. The movement you don't want to see in a cat's tail is more of a wagging behavior, so where the whole tail is moving back and forth. In dogs, usually when the tail is wagging, it is a good thing. But when a cat's tail is wagging, that means that the cat is feeling irritated or anxious about what's going on. And you also don't want to see, in terms of the whole body, you don't want to see piloerection or that fur all puffed out. So keep those things in mind as you're evaluating how your cat is feeling about different situations to see if he might be a good fit for this Therapy Cats program. A good therapy cat, I'm told, should also respond to their handler's cues even if there are distractions. If your cat looks to you when they're unsure, nervous, or need guidance, that means that you have the strong bond that is really an important component to being a therapy cat team. So, Moira, you mentioned earlier that they need kind of basic good manners. And I'm looking at the list here, and one of those things is respond reliably to common commands. Could you go into a little bit more detail about what that means for a
Right.
cat?
So the list that we have written on our basic requirements page was developed with dogs in mind because 95% of our teams are with a canine pet partner. We do require one obedience skill from cats, and that is the stay. And it is in the form of sitting on a stranger's lap unassisted for 30 seconds. So that is something you can teach your cat. But they don't have to do like a stay or a stay at the end of a long line on the floor. They're just going to be sitting in someone's lap for 30 seconds. That's the only uh, obedience skill that your cat is going to need to know.
Okay, perfect. So the other things on the list that you haven't mentioned yet is they don't vocalize inappropriately, or if they do, they can be stopped by the handler. Takes treats nicely, doesn't mouth or lick people during interactions, doesn't become overly rambunctious or too aroused when they're being petted. And this is something you really need to watch out for with cats. Can walk past other animals without displaying excessive fear or aggression. And they're not looking for cats that are too nosy. So we don't want a cat that has its head or its paws in people's purses or the trash bag or anything like that. So I know Moira said it before, I've said it before, but it's really important to keep in mind that a therapy cat, by definition, should enjoy interacting with strangers, which includes being petted, touched, and handled sometimes awkwardly. Not everybody knows how to handle cats, and not everyone knows how your cat in particular likes to be handled. So the handlers will do what they can to ensure that people know how best to interact with their cats, but therapy cats should be a little forgiving and tolerant of different styles of petting. And as we've said before, all of this is really about safety, right? That's going to be the top priority for the cats, for you guys and the clients. So it's really critical that a therapy cat does not have a history of being aggressive toward people or other animals. So that's a whole lot about the cats, which obviously is my favorite part. But Maura, could you tell us a little bit about what makes a good handler?
Absolutely. And you made a very good point that it is the handler's job to protect their cat. So you have to have good people skills in order to do this role. It's not uncommon for people to focus on what the cat needs to be a therapy cat, but don't overlook the role of a handler. Pet partners handlers are friendly, professional, and polite in their interactions with clients, facility staff, as well as fellow volunteers. You will be interacting with strangers too, not just your cat. So you'll need to be able to respond gracefully in a variety of situations that could arrive. The nature of this work is that you are visiting people in, potentially emotionally charged or depressing or exciting situations. So you need to be able to remain calm and collected in your interactions. The primary role of a handler is to be their cat's guardian. You are your cat's best advocate. Part of this is being able to understand your cat's strengths and weaknesses. If you know your cat would prefer a butt scratch over a head pat, Then position them accordingly when you approach a client. We call this proactive handling, and it's a key to performing well on our team evaluation. You will be responsible for making decisions about what is and is not appropriate during a visit. When you take the handler's course, you'll hear this referred to as Yayaba. You are your animal's best advocate, and it will come up a lot. Cat welfare is a priority at Pet Partners, so always make decisions based on what is best for your cat, not just for the clients that you are visiting. Make sure your cat is in good health and properly groomed. Nail trimming is recommended, and that your visits are consistent with Pet Partners' best practices, policies, and procedures, which will ensure a safe and effective visit for everyone.
Great. Yeah, Yaba.
Yes,
I like it.
Yayaba.
Now, Maura, as you mentioned, you're a cat handler yourself. So could you tell us a little bit about your experience as a cat handler and maybe share your favorite story of being a therapy team with your cat?
Gladly. Thank you. So unfortunately, those of you who didn't see us at the very beginning, you missed my boy Wayne. He was here for a second and then he got camera shy. I adopted Wayne, my orange tabby, uh, about 2011, 2012 from the shelter, and we visited a nursing home in Queens for 3 years. The impact we had on the residents was incredible. We met people who would only speak during their visit with Wayne, people recovering from stroke who had miraculous strides in their mobility. Um, and then there were people living with dementia who were sharing memories with me of their childhood cat. There were a lot of people who were there for just a short recovery period and just missed their pets at home. So Wayne and I were able to brighten their day and make their stay a little easier and less lonely. I was constantly reminded of the importance of the Pet Partners' emphasis on being a team. We worked together and would often switch roles. Many of the residents were happy to see him, but petting him was just a bridge to talk to me. And then in other cases, I didn't need to say a word, and Wayne would just snuggle up and be petted for 10 minutes, helping the person relax with his chill orange tabby attitude.
That's amazing. It sounds like you really got to have a big impact on a lot of people, which is so awesome. And I'm sure that some people watching right now are interested in having that kind of impact themselves. So, for those who are interested in getting involved, can you share a little bit about what that commitment to be a cat therapy team looks like?
hmm So everybody is, they think they have a candidate and they're very excited. Part of the reason that we have such a gold standard is that we have a little bit of a rigorous process. There are several steps you have to go to before you can become a Pet Partners registered team. We're a volunteer organization. All of our therapy animal handlers, licensed instructors, and team evaluators are volunteers in their community committed to promoting animal assisted interventions. Once you are registered, you will be able to approach facilities in your own community where you can offer to volunteer as a therapy animal team. You will also need to follow all volunteer requirements of the site where you choose to volunteer. This may include completing a volunteer application, meeting health requirements, and taking additional training orientations. As a Pet Partners volunteer, it's up to you to choose where you would like to volunteer and how often. Some teams visit once a week or once every other week. Um, some teams visit less frequently. Although visits never exceed 2 hours a day, remember that you will spend time preparing for your visit, including bathing and grooming. And you'll want to reserve some time after a visit to unwind with your pet, whether that's playing or just cuddling after a job well done. There is a real commitment to therapy animal work, but it is also unbelievably rewarding. Maybe you already have an idea of where you would like to visit, but if not, Pet Partners Volunteer Center has a searchable listing of volunteer opportunities as well. You can access this list after your registration is complete.
Awesome. So, how does someone become a Pet Partners therapy team?
Yep. So, first, you need to create an account, a free account at petpartners.org. Um, the first step once you create a registration is to complete your handler course. Um, and then that's the human end of the learning journey. Then you will get your pet's health assessed by filling out a health form. If you recently had an exam, you may not have to go for another vet visit. You have to talk to your veterinarian, but we do need that form as part of your registration. And then the next step is to sign up for your team evaluation. The test must be conducted in person. We have developed guidelines and modifications to make the process safer, but access to events is still very limited. We encourage you to get started online so we can reach out to prospective handlers to fill upcoming testing events as they become available. So we're glad that we have that handler course step for you to finish right now, and then we will be in touch with you when there's a testing opportunity. After the test, you submit your materials through the Pet Partners website. Once approved, you will pay your fee, and then you will receive a letter that attests to your completed registration, and then you will receive a badge in the mail and a tag for your cat a few weeks later. And thanks to the $30,000 donation from Purina Cat Chow, we're able to offer a discount on the registration fee. Currently, a new handler registration fee is $95 for the 2-year registration. The Cat Chow discount will offer new cat handlers a reduced registration fee of $50 for a limited time.
Awesome. All right. Well, we've definitely given you guys a lot of information so far. We hope it was helpful for you. And now we have a few minutes left and we're going to dive into your questions. So it looks like we got a question from Ashley, and she asked, how can I get my cat registered? So hopefully Moira has explained that. And then she also wondered if it's the same as an emotional support animal.
Right. So hopefully you're able to see that linked resource in the beginning of the presentation. An emotional support animal is for someone who has a diagnosis. It exists under a prescription, usually from a mental health professional. So people with that documentation are allowed to take their animals onto airplanes or in public housing where pets are otherwise not allowed. So that's the only step to make an animal an emotional support animal. And that is so that people with some kind of disability can keep their animal with them because they need them when they go to places in public. This activity is so that people can volunteer to share their awesome pets with other members of their community in facilities where people would really like a visit from a friendly cat. Your cat can be both things, but the Pet Partners process is required in order to become a registered therapy cat.
All right. Thank you very much, Moira. So I think that's all the questions that we had for now. So we're going to wrap up. But if you think of any other questions, please keep them coming. You can post right here on this video, and our team's going to keep going through the thread, and we'll try to get those answers to you over the next several days. So thanks again for watching. If you want any more information, make sure to visit petpartners.org/catchow. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody.